Ladies and gentlemen, why do some people seem to attract wealth effortlessly, while others work hard their entire lives and never seem to get ahead? Why is it that two individuals can start with the same resources, the same opportunities, even the same dreams, yet end up with vastly different financial outcomes? It's not luck, it's not just hard work, it's mindset. It's the way the wealthy think, and more importantly, it's the way they act. See, financial success isn't a destination. It's not a number in a bank account. It's a byproduct of how we see the world, how we make decisions, and how we show up in it every single day. Today, I'm not here to talk about get rich, quick schemes, or overnight success. I'm here to reveal something much deeper. A secret hidden in plain sight. If you want to attract wealth, you must start by thinking and acting like the wealthy, long before the money shows up. Let's uncover that mindset. Let's learn to see through the lens of possibility, not scarcity. Let's rewire our habits and align our actions with the wealth we seek. Because the truth is, we don't get wealthy to start thinking rich. We think rich to become wealthy. Let's begin. Most people believe that financial success begins with money. They think if they could just earn a little more, save a little better, or land that one opportunity, everything would change. But the truth is, wealth doesn't start in your wallet. It starts in your mind. The first and most important shift is realizing that your mindset about money shapes your relationship with it. That's why those who build lasting financial success almost always start by changing the way they think long before they see results in their bank account. A wealth mindset isn't about arrogance or blind optimism. It's about adopting a perspective that aligns with abundance, opportunity, and responsibility. When you start with a wealth mindset, you begin to make choices based on potential and long-term value rather than short-term fear or survival. You stop asking, "Can I afford this right now?" and instead ask, "Is this aligned with my goals? Will this bring value to my future?" That subtle difference creates a powerful shift in the way you view money, time, and effort. People with a scarcity mindset often view money as something limited. They see the world as a zero-sum game. If someone else wins, they lose. They avoid risk, fear investment, and focus on hoarding instead of creating. In contrast, the wealthy don't see money as scarce, they see it as a tool, a resource, and most importantly, a multiplier. They understand that money flows where value is created, and they position themselves not just to earn, but to generate value consistently. Starting with a wealth mindset means you recognize your role in your financial future. You stop blaming external circumstances, the economy, your job, your upbringing, and start asking better questions. How can I increase my value in the marketplace? What skills do I need to develop? Where am I playing small out of fear? These questions are powerful because they shift the focus from what you don't have to what you can do. And that is the foundation of financial growth. Another key element of a wealth mindset is delayed gratification. Wealthy individuals are rarely driven by instant rewards. They understand that meaningful success takes time, discipline, and consistent effort. They are willing to put in the work today that won't pay off until years later. Whether it's investing in education, building a business, or creating multiple income streams, they are playing a longer game. And they stay committed even when the results aren't immediate. What's also important is how the wealthy view failure. To someone with a scarcity mindset, failure is proof that they're not good enough, that they should stop trying. But to those who think like the wealthy, failure is data. It's feedback, it's part of the learning process. They don't internalize failure, they analyze it, they adjust and move forward. That resilience is not just emotional, it's strategic. Because they know that every setback, every rejection, every misstep is teaching them how to win better next time. A wealth mindset also reshapes your relationship with time. Poor thinking says, "I don't have enough time." Wealth thinking says, "How can I use my time more effectively?" People with wealth-driven minds prioritize differently. They understand opportunity cost, they delegate, they systemize. They realize that time is a non-renewable resource, and they treat it with the same seriousness, if not more, than they treat money. Then there's the matter of self-worth. Thinking like the wealthy means knowing that your value is not fixed. It can be increased. Your knowledge, your network, your experience, all of these are assets that can grow. People with a wealth mindset invest in themselves constantly. Books, mentors, workshops, communities, they are always learning, always expanding. Because they understand that who you are becoming is directly linked to what you will eventually attract and achieve. Thinking wealthy doesn't mean pretending you're rich or faking success. It means adopting the habits, beliefs, and decision, making frameworks of those who already have what you want. It means looking at money not as a finish line, but as a byproduct of a much deeper foundation. Discipline, vision, courage, and consistency. And it means recognizing that financial transformation doesn't happen when you receive money. It begins when you start thinking differently about what's possible for your life. Believing you deserve wealth before you have it is one of the most overlooked but powerful principles of financial success. Most people unknowingly reject wealth long before they ever get the chance to receive it. They do this not with their words, but with their thoughts, their self-image, and the silent doubts that play on repeat in the background of their minds. When you believe deep down that you're not worthy of wealth, no strategy, job, or opportunity can fully take root. It's like planting a seed in soil that quietly resists growth. Without a belief in your own worth, financial success remains something external, distant, and out of reach. Wealthy people, even before they achieve outward success, tend to carry a different belief system. They see themselves as capable, deserving, and responsible stewards of money. That belief doesn't come from arrogance, it comes from clarity. They've made the internal decision that they are enough, that they are valuable, and that they are willing to become the kind of person who can handle success. This is not about entitlement, it's about alignment. When your internal belief matches the level of success you want, your actions begin to align naturally. You don't have to force confidence, it begins to show up in the way you speak, the way you make decisions, and the way you carry yourself in the world. Most people have been conditioned to believe that wealth belongs to others, to those with better connections, more education, or a lucky break. That kind of thinking creates a mental barrier that's hard to see but very real. If you've internalized the belief that you're supposed to struggle, that money is hard to come by, or that rich people are somehow different, you'll subconsciously sabotage your own progress. You'll second-guess your value. You'll undercharge, hesitate to invest, or avoid bold opportunities out of fear of not being ready. And all of this comes back to one thing. You haven't yet decided that you are worthy of wealth. Believing you deserve wealth doesn't mean you think it will be easy. It means you trust yourself to handle the journey. It means you know you can learn, grow, adapt, and lead. This kind of belief builds resilience when setbacks come, and they will. You don't spiral into self-doubt. Instead, you see obstacles as part of the path, not as signs that you should turn back. Your self-worth is no longer tied to outcomes. It's rooted in your identity. And from that place you operate with quiet certainty, not desperation. Self-worth also affects how you receive money. If you believe you're only worth a little, you'll push away anything more. You'll downplay your skills, apologize for your prices, or overdeliver out of guilt. But when you know your value, you stop shrinking. You start asking for what you're worth. You start expecting excellence from yourself and from others. And over time, the world responds to that energy. Wealth begins to find people who are ready to receive it, not just financially, but mentally and emotionally. That readiness is rooted in belief. It's built in the quiet moments when you choose to speak confidently about your goals, when you turn down low-value distractions, when you refuse to settle for less than you know you're capable of. These moments compound. They become the foundation of a life where wealth is no longer a distant dream. It becomes a reflection of the belief you've been holding all along. Most people spend money as a way to feel better, to keep up appearances, or to satisfy immediate desires. This mindset leads to a cycle of earning and spending with very little to show for it over time. On the other hand, wealthy individuals think very differently about money. They don't see it as something to use for quick gratification. They view money as a tool for growth. They understand that lasting wealth isn't built through consumption, it's built through smart, intentional investment in things that produce value over time. Investing in growth means prioritizing assets over liabilities. It means putting money into things that expand your skills, increase your income potential, or generate returns in the future. This might look like taking a course, hiring a mentor, starting a side business, or buying real estate. But it also goes deeper than that. It's about being willing to sacrifice comfort today for abundance tomorrow. That mindset shift separates those who build wealth from those who remain stuck in the paycheck trap. The wealthy understand that every dollar has a job. Instead of spending impulsively, they ask, how can this money grow? What return can I expect from this decision? Will this purchase serve me a year from now, or is it just a fleeting desire? They make decisions with clarity and purpose. That's because they see money not just as something to spend, but as a form of energy that, when directed wisely, multiplies. Investing in growth also means investing in yourself. Your knowledge, your mindset, your network, these are some of the most powerful assets you'll ever own. Wealthy people are constantly learning. They read books, attend seminars, surround themselves with smart people, and ask better questions. They know that the more they grow, the more valuable they become, and the more value they can offer to others. And that's where real wealth begins, not in hoarding money, but in increasing your ability to create it. Many people hesitate to invest in themselves because they don't see an immediate payoff. They'd rather buy something they can hold in their hands than invest in something that transforms the way they think. But the truth is, the biggest returns often come from intangible areas. A shift in mindset can unlock new possibilities. A single insight can lead to a breakthrough. A new connection can open doors that were previously invisible. When you think like the wealthy, you start to recognize these invisible assets as even more valuable than material things. This principle also applies to how wealthy individuals manage their time. They invest their time in high-leverage activities, creating, building, networking, thinking. They don't waste hours on distractions or low-value tasks. They treat time like money, strategically and with intention. They ask, what's the highest use of my time today? How can I build something now that will pay dividends later? This mindset creates momentum and compounding results, which is exactly how wealth is built. Thinking in terms of growth rather than goods also changes the way you set goals. Instead of asking, what can I afford? You start asking, what's the highest version of my life I can build? And then, how can I start building it now? This kind of thinking isn't about deprivation. It's about discipline. It's about understanding that real freedom doesn't come from buying more. It comes from becoming more. When you commit to investing in growth, you begin to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You develop the patience to wait for results while staying hungry to keep learning. You stop needing to prove your worth with things and start focusing on becoming someone whose very presence creates value. That's the mindset of the wealthy. They know that money flows to those who know how to grow, adapt, and serve with excellence. Thinking long term and acting daily is one of the most powerful principles behind lasting financial success. Wealthy individuals don't just dream about the future. They build it brick by brick through the decisions they make every single day. They understand that success is not the result of one big leap, but the outcome of thousands of small, consistent steps taken with purpose. Their long-term vision shapes how they spend their time, where they focus their energy, and what they choose to prioritize. Most people live reactively. They respond to whatever is urgent, distracted by short-term pleasures or quick fixes. They focus on getting through the day rather than designing a better future. Wealthy thinkers operate differently. They begin with a clear vision of where they want to be 5, 10, or 20 years from now, and then they reverse. Engineer that future into simple, consistent actions they can take today. Their daily habits are aligned with long-term outcomes, not short-term emotions. This principle applies to everything from money management to personal development. A person with a long-term mindset doesn't just save money. They invest it strategically. They don't just read occasionally. They build daily learning routines. They don't just wait for opportunity. They build the skills, relationships, and systems that will attract and sustain that opportunity when it arrives. Every action is intentional, even if it looks small from the outside. Acting daily requires discipline, especially when results aren't immediate. There's no applause for choosing to work late on a project, skipping unnecessary spending, or reading instead of scrolling. But wealthy individuals have learned to trust the process. They understand that consistency compounds. One good decision repeated over time can change your entire financial trajectory. That's why they focus on building habits instead of chasing motivation. They know that motivation fades, but systems sustain momentum. Having a long-term mindset also changes how you respond to setbacks. When your eyes are fixed on the future, short-term failures don't feel like the end, they become lessons. Instead of getting discouraged, you adapt. You recalibrate your actions and keep moving forward. This resilience comes from knowing that the journey is bigger than any one moment, and that daily action, no matter how small, keeps the vision alive. The wealth-minded individual also uses the power of time to their advantage. They know that time is a multiplier. Whether it's investing money, growing a business, or developing expertise, they start early and stay consistent. They don't wait for perfect conditions. They act with what they have, knowing that action itself builds clarity and momentum. While others are waiting, they are planting seeds, and while others are distracted by quick wins, they are quietly building something that will last. This approach creates a powerful sense of control. When you're thinking long-term and acting daily, you're no longer a victim of circumstance. You're an architect of your own future. You start to trust yourself more because you've built evidence of your commitment through consistent action. And you begin to see results not overnight, but inevitably, because the gap between where you are and where you want to be is filled by what you do every single day. The people you surround yourself with have a profound impact on the way you think, act, and ultimately, the results you create in your life. Wealthy individuals understand this deeply, and they are intentional about the company they keep. They don't just spend time with anyone. They align themselves with people who challenge their thinking, elevate their standards, and encourage them to aim higher. Financial success isn't just about strategies and numbers. It's about the environment you immerse yourself in daily, because your environment shapes your mindset, and your mindset drives your behavior. When you consistently interact with people who are growth-oriented, ambitious, and financially literate, their mindset starts to rub off on you. Their habits influence your habits. Their conversations open your mind to possibilities you may have never considered. Their energy shifts your expectations for what's normal. Suddenly, saving, investing, building, and scaling become natural topics. You begin to normalize the behaviors that create wealth instead of the ones that drain it. This is why wealthy people are highly selective about their inner circle. They understand that proximity is power. Conversely, when you're surrounded by people who constantly complain about money, blame external factors for their circumstances, or live only for short-term gratification, it becomes incredibly difficult to break free from that mentality. Even if you want to grow, the gravitational pull of their limiting beliefs can keep you stuck. You find yourself justifying poor choices, lowering your standards, or holding back from big opportunities because you don't want to stand out or make others uncomfortable. That's the hidden cost of the wrong environment. It quietly convinces you to settle. Surrounding yourself with wealth-oriented people doesn't mean cutting everyone off or looking down on others. It means being aware of the influence people have on your trajectory and making sure your closest influences are aligned with where you want to go. It means intentionally seeking out mentors, peers, and communities that reflect the level of thinking and discipline you aspire to. It means having conversations that challenge your assumptions, expose your blind spots, and push you to expand your capacity. Wealthy individuals often invest significant time and energy into building the right network. They attend conferences, join mastermind groups, participate in mentorship programs, and cultivate relationships with people who are ahead of them. They understand that access to the right people can open doors that talent alone cannot. More importantly, they understand that consistent exposure to higher-level thinking elevates their decision-making. They learn not just from their own mistakes, but from the experiences of those who have already walked the path. Being in the right environment also provides accountability. When you're part of a group that values growth, action, and excellence, you're more likely to follow through on your goals. You're less likely to make excuses because you're surrounded by people who expect more from themselves and from you. This accountability isn't about pressure, it's about alignment. It creates a space where ambition is supported, not shamed. Where winning is celebrated, not resented. Where growth is the norm, not the exception. Wealth-oriented people also know the importance of protecting their mindset from negativity. They are cautious about who they take advice from. They don't discuss their vision with people who can't see it. They don't let fear-based opinions shape their financial decisions. Instead, they turn to those who have achieved what they're aiming for. They value wisdom over noise, and they're willing to be the least experienced person in the room if it means they're in the right room. As you start to think and act like the wealthy, your circle may begin to shift. Some people will naturally drift away. Others will be drawn to your growth. The key is to be intentional. Seek out those who stretch your thinking, who celebrate your wins, who challenge your comfort zones, and who remind you, by the way they live, that greater things are possible. Making decisions based on value rather than emotion is a fundamental trait of wealthy individuals. They understand that emotions are temporary, but decisions often have long-term consequences. Instead of reacting impulsively or emotionally, they pause, analyze, and make choices that are rooted in logic, strategy, and value creation. This principle is what separates those who build wealth from those who constantly chase financial stability without ever achieving it. When emotions drive decision making, especially around money, people tend to act out of fear, frustration, or desire for instant gratification. They make purchases to feel better in the moment. They avoid investments because of fear of loss. They hold on to bad habits because change feels uncomfortable. But wealthy thinkers have trained themselves to take emotion out of the equation. They ask questions like, what value will this bring? Will this move me closer to my long-term goals? Is this the best use of my resources right now? This doesn't mean they are cold or detached. It means they are disciplined. They've learned that reacting emotionally to money leads to short-sighted decisions. Whether it's making a big purchase, starting a business, or investing in a new opportunity, their process is guided by clarity, not chaos. They weigh risk against reward, calculate potential outcomes, and choose based on the highest return, not just financially, but in terms of growth, freedom, and long-term alignment. This approach also impacts how they spend their time. Wealth-minded individuals evaluate the value of their time with precision. They don't say yes to every opportunity or meeting. They don't waste hours on distractions that produce nothing. Instead, they prioritize what adds value to their life or business. They delegate tasks that don't serve their strengths and focus on activities that generate the highest results. This mindset leads to greater productivity, efficiency, and ultimately wealth creation. Wealthy individuals also apply value-based thinking to relationships. They surround themselves with people who challenge them, support their vision, and bring positive energy into their lives. They don't stay in toxic environments just because they feel obligated. They make tough decisions when necessary, always asking what serves their growth and aligns with their values. This is not selfishness, it's clarity. They understand that every relationship, like every investment, has a return, and they are mindful of which ones are helping or hindering their journey. Even in moments of uncertainty, they don't rush. They pause, research, and seek advice if needed. Their calmness in the face of pressure doesn't come from avoiding emotion. It comes from mastering it. They've developed the emotional intelligence to acknowledge their feelings but not be ruled by them. That self-awareness gives them the edge in situations where others might panic or give up. Over time, this pattern of making value-based decisions compounds. Every wise choice, every disciplined action, every moment of restraint builds a stronger foundation. It leads to better investments, stronger relationships, smarter time management, and more consistent progress. Wealth in this way becomes not just a financial state, but a reflection of the internal standards and decision-making frameworks they've committed to living by.